do, as long as I'm still in this layer, I did most of my masking, but now I really need to zoom in, again, like we did with the running woman. There's a couple ways you can do this, making sure you're in the mask mode, not on the image. If I delete the image, then I can't go back. In the mask mode, I like to use the eraser and zoom in really close and just start removing all those edges. Now, if I accidentally go in too much, again, remember my black and white over here, if I hit the letter X, toggles me back, so I can add that back in there. And if I hit X again, it toggles back to the white. So I like to just toggle back and forth between removing, and if I remove too much by accident, I add back in. So that's one thing, just as a review. Now, another thing is my original image, there's a hurdle that's cutting into my leg. So what I'm going to do first, going back into the mask, and let me get my eraser and make that with the bracket, make that a lot bigger. So, oops, X, and go back in there. So I'm going to put in the area that I want to do my leg. Now going to, remember when we did that, the family that was on the bridge, the Photoshop 2 assignment? So what I'm going to do is clone stamp. I like the clone stamping tool. And I just want to pick up this dark blue color. So if I hold the Option key and select there, and now I'm not touching anything, now I should be able to copy. Oops, not working because I'm in the mask mode. So now I got to go to my original image, and I can only clone stamp in the image. Oops, but I'm at 43 opacity. So if I make that 100 opacity, one more time, click and drag. So I'm going to do this. You don't need to watch it, but I just wanted to show you how I did that. So now I'm going to go in, oops, and clean up all these edges and add my leg in there. And then the last thing I think I'm going to do, the color or the lighting on this is really pretty good because it's a bright day and the image in my background is bright. But let's say I wanted to use this as my background. It might not make as much sense because now I'm in sort of a tunnel. So if I were to use this background, I might go to my, where's it, image, adjustments, and play with the brightness contrast or levels or maybe my hue saturation. So let me just show you real quick, just if I changed the saturation and brought it down because it's really bright, you should be able to do preview mode. So if I do preview, okay, that's not really doing much. Okay, well, it's removing some color. So now actually here, I'm pretty much black and white. I don't want that. Maybe I make it a little bit darker. I feel like I'm disappearing now. So maybe this is not the right way to do it. Maybe I go back to image adjustment. I like to play with layer levels. So the levels, this will bring up the brightness too much. Maybe I drag it down this way. Too contrasting. But these are different ways to play with what I really want to do. Let me try one more thing. Curves. I don't know. That's making it more contrast, less contrast. Okay, that's a little bit better. I'm gonna hit cancel because I am gonna keep this parkour. I am gonna do parkour. I decided that's fun. Another tool that actually you are not familiar with yet. Let me zoom in. That I think, again, going back into this, if I needed to make myself, whoops, darker, is to use, what is this? The dodge and burn. This is back in the old days when you used an enlarger to actually print photography. So I'm making this really big so you can see. Again, I'm on the image, not in the mask mode. If I click over this and drag, notice how I'm getting lighter and almost washed out. Ooh, that's kind of creepy. I can go back to burn. Let's make that really big. And I can adjust exposure and all this stuff, but I'm just showing you really quickly. This will make it darker. So there's all these different ways to, I'm just going to keep going. Kind of creepy, right? But these are different tools that you can use to manipulate the highlights and shadows. One last thing I want to show you on this, if I go to Window and go to History, And some of you have already seen this because I worked with you on this. If I open up this window, because I just did all of that. If I Command Z, it's only going to go back one step. But what I can do is skip all of that dodging and burning and all of that stuff that I was demonstrating, and it takes me back to where I started. So if you open your document, you go like 50 steps and you forget how to go back, you can just kind of go back this way in your history and then go from there.